Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. My guest tonight is, I don't even know how to describe you. Poet, cartoonist, apparently orthodontist. Did I read that right?
That's right.
Poet, cartoonist, and orthodontist Grant Snider. Hey, Grant, how's it going?
Good, Tad. I'm excited to talk to you today.
I am both excited to talk to you and like scared's not quite the right word, but like thinking about thinking is like all I do. So when I saw that somebody else had named their book that, I was both excited and terrified. And and now I'm still very excited, a little less terrified, except that like it's like, do we share a brain? And nobody told me. Um,
That's good. You're too much inside your own head too, I imagine.
sometimes. But it's like not just too much inside my own head. I feel like inside my own head in like similar specific ways where I'm trying to figure out what inside my own head means. I'm less worried about like the world and more worried about how my brain works and how to apply it.
The next step is to draw a comic strip about it. Yeah.
This is what you have done, and I'm kind of jealous. But I did just notice on your website that you teach us to draw in a way that makes sense to me, um, where you give me shapes and how to combine the shapes. It's like, oh, wait a minute. My wife, the art teacher, hasn't even quite pulled that one off for me, and she's made drawing way easier for me than it was
Uh-huh.
before.
That's cool.
So I'm gonna uh, Well, we're gonna go dealer's choice. Do you want to talk about the new book right out of the gate, or do you want to give me like how you came to this? Because I feel like orthodontist, poet, cartoonist is not like. And how many kids was it?
Yeah, I have five kiddos that are hopefully
Yeah,
all sleeping or winding down by now. So if you
right.
hear some
So
yells in the background, that's what's going on.
orthodontist, cartoonist, poet, father of five in is it Kansas? This is just not things that feel like they go together. So
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
fascinated
I'm
to
not.
hear how they go together.
It's, I don't really think about the bio too much, but yeah, I know we can talk about the new book. I mean,
Okay.
like a lot of people, I got started just by drawing and trying to get it published. I mean, nothing too crazy, but I was kind of mining those dual career paths, and
Okay.
yeah, and that's how those both came about.
Well, I mean, we'll go back to that because there's totally more. But let's go with the new book
All
right
right,
now
cool.
because it is fascinating and I'm looking at it. Um, like what came first, the title or a series of the cartoons? I mean, was it
Yeah, so
something where
it's always a series of the cartoons, and I'm like, okay, what is the through line to like,
okay.
make this into a book? And usually there is one. So it's been creativity was the first one, books
Hmm.
and literature, the love and frustrations of was the second one. The third one was broadly mindfulness, and then
Right.
that naturally led to just examining the inner life, thought processes. Because basically, yeah, whenever I take out a blank sheet of paper, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to look close at my thoughts, explore them, examine them, try to make a joke out of them, try to make them coherent about 9 panels or less.
Okay.
And
I mean, you sometimes go
that's the
more.
result of
We've
all
got,
those.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at division with 12.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's 12 panels. Yeah, that's when I get a little extravagant.
Yeah.
We'll say 2 pages or less. Yeah, I don't think I
Okay.
break the spread
No,
in.
you almost never go more than 2 pages.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is also like I'm talking about where I got started. So just putting stuff online,
okay.
on blogs, on Facebook, kind of early 2010s when things were getting shared a lot more easily with social media. So
Like the early era of the web comics and I mean, some of them go
yeah,
older
I
than
mean,
that,
the web comics I think have been around for quite a while, but I don't think
but,
Facebook was
but when you
blasting
didn't
the
need to know how to code.
exactly the background website, and you could just put something on Facebook and it would be
Right.
transmitted to every corner of the earth. So,
Right.
but so that's where
Okay.
I kind of came up with the okay, I need to fit this all in what
But
became
did
a
you
book.
draw before that? I mean, talk to me about you in
Oh yeah, yeah.
comics,
So
because
I
because
have
they're
I have a twin brother named Gavin who I always try to shout out to in my interviews. I have other brothers too who are artistic, but not in a drawing sense. But so Gavin and I would go head to head and kind of be competitive with our drawing from age 0 to right now. Um, and so we kind of developed that. He went off into the fine art, architecture, painting side of things. I went into, putting jokes in boxes and trying to get into newspapers. Drew
Is
for
he
my
the
student
one in Brooklyn?
newspaper. Yeah, he lives in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Um,
GavinSnider.com.
yeah, and Gavin to Draw is his Instagram. Not the singer, but that's where he gets his Instagram handle from. Um, and so
Wait, though, he's a Yankee fan. No, 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 no.
Well, I think he's a Mets fan. Well, because actually, okay, I say he's not Gavin DeGraw, the famous singer, but he does play in a band with three Mets groundskeepers. So yeah,
Okay.
I think he'd claim more allegiance to the Mets, although he's probably
Okay.
got a project for the
I'm
Yankees.
just I'm just flipping through his website and I saw
Uh-huh.
New York or nowhere with Yankee Stadium and yeah,
Yeah, so he's done some cool things in like the fine art space, and
right.
sells paintings. Where I started drawing for newspapers in Kansas, and then eventually Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and then that turned into almost purely web comics, and then finally started making books out of them.
Publishing your own, right?
Yeah,
Um, yeah. I mean, again, like so we've got the rivalry going on, but were the two of you reading comics and or were you just making art? I mean,
yeah, a little bit of both. So
I
I think we
always like
had
to see
the
how people when I say give me your comics biography,
oh
I
yeah.
sometimes and you just caught me in a weird headspace. So I didn't ask the question as well as I often do. It's like start with the comics that you fell in love with,
Yeah, so I feel like
and
I
then
didn't
how
discover like
that
real comics, quote unquote, real comics, graphic novels
I
till
think they're
college.
all real comics.
But we
Peanuts are
were,
real
yeah,
comics.
yeah. So exactly, we were big on newspaper strips. So anyone from my
Okay.
generation is going to say Calvin and Hobbes, like
Oh yeah,
that inspired like every creative
that's
person I've
next
ever
up on
met.
our cart
Right.
our almost quarterly comic strip club.
Oh,
Is
did you get
Calvin and
Bill
Hobbes.
Watterson to go on a podcast?
No, I have not
I'm
gotten
just
Bill Watterson.
I say that flippantly. Sorry.
Well, I mean, he's on my bucket list,
Yeah, yeah,
and I know people who know him,
yeah. I
but
say I've met a guy who's met him, so that's like
yeah,
we're basically good friends with him
I
now.
have held an original Calvin and Hobbes comics
Uh-huh.
in my hands
Oh,
because
that's
they're
awesome.
all in Ohio.
What is the scale of those? So is he drawing them pretty huge like Charles Schultz would?
I feel like they're smaller than Schultz most
Hmm.
of the time. Um, Actually, the one that I got was or that I really spent time with was the watercolors. He would
Oh
actually
yeah.
do put like the cartoon on an acetate
Uh-huh.
and then do the watercolor. So the watercolor itself doesn't have any lines.
Right. Well, so he's
And
using
then he'd lay
a
it
light
over it
box
to,
over
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Man,
I assume,
that's
I mean,
cool.
I got this, I mean, I've seen the stuff. It's at the Billy Ireland Museum on the Ohio State campus.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
He gave his entire, I mean, every comics lover should make a pilgrimage to the Billy Ireland and really should go to Comics Crossroads, which is
Oh, cool.
the convention that they have every year
Okay.
between Ohio State and the public library and the art museum. And it was Tom Sperling and Jeff Smith started the
Mhm.
convention like 10 years ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Jeff is still a part of it. Um, so yeah, no, when I got to hold the Watterson, it was because Jeff and Caitlin McGurk, who is the curator for cartoon arts at the Billy Ireland, were taking me on my own private back room tour.
Wow.
So I was getting to see all sorts of stuff, and my head was kind of exploding.
Did you have to wear like white gloves and a
No,
hairnet and
no.
they just
I
let you
mean,
pick it up?
the
That's
stuff
cool.
that needed to be protected was in protective stuff,
Right, right.
etc. Um, yeah, no, yeah, I can't. And you could probably apply for a table and or manage to have somebody
That's a
want to
great
do a
idea. Yeah,
panel with you.
I was
Oh,
in I was in the neighborhood. I drove through the campus and somebody
right.
showed me where the museum was, but I was going to a children's book conference an hour
Okay.
away, so I didn't have time to stop. But I was like,
Yeah.
I need to make that
No.
pilgrimage soon.
The again, like I've heard that what Karen Green has put together at Columbia rivals it in terms
Okay,
of but I don't know what the rules are for being able to see the stuff at Columbia.
right.
Whereas at Ohio State, they both have exhibits at all times. They've got a permanent exhibit, and then they have a reading room where they will bring anything to you.
Wow.
They have things cataloged online, and you can say, "I want to see this," and they'll bring it out to the reading room.
Yeah,
Um, and again, during CXCA, they bring all sorts of stuff out to the reading room, period. And B, they have back room tours like every hour that often have cool people on them
right.
just because they happen to sign up for them. I met Art Spiegelman this year.
Oh, nice.
Not on the back room tour, just met him
Just
there.
for there. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but that's not about you. It's about
And now
me.
I'm fascinated. I'm like, I need, so between that, the, you said the Columbia, the Ireland Museum, the Schultz Museum, I feel like I need to,
Yeah, the Schultz
do the
Museum
three,
is
the
supposed.
Midwest, East
I
Coast,
haven't been
West
to.
Coast,
Yeah, yeah,
um, road trip across the country one of these days. Maybe I'll bring the kids,
yeah,
maybe not. Maybe I'll just go alone.
yeah. Well, I mean, it
Bring my
depends
wife
on
along.
how into cartoons they are.
Yeah.
Though, um, there's enough interesting stuff. I don't know how old your kids are, but Kate Beaton had her 5-year-old with her
Oh, nice. Okay.
this year, and like, so she didn't table, but she was one of the keynote speakers, and she did some of the stuff, and then she ran around and did stuff in Columbus with her 5-year-old during the day.
Right.
You know, I think they'd gone to the zoo and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And because there's a significant comics program, there are tons of young college students who will watch over your kids for you for a few minutes here and there when you need them to.
Yeah, and
And or
I do have a couple future cartoonists in the mix, I think. So
see, that's even amazing, more amazing.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, you started with Calvin and Hobbes. Like was it a lifelong love of comics? Where did you go from there?
I
I
think I
mean,
just stayed
obviously,
there, honestly, you know.
you
So
see,
if you,
that's
I
fair.
remember we had the collections. I'd read in the newspaper, and obviously, eventually he retired.
Right.
And that was
Very
sad.
sad day, though I loved his
Um,
new book.
oh yeah, cool. I haven't read it yet.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
It's hard to tell what he did and what the other guy did.
I did flip through to the bookstore, and I said, well, it's not Calvin and Hobbes.
It's
It's
not Calvin and
also
Hobbes, but like when I was done reading it, I was like, this is Calvin and Hobbes in a different format and
okay. I need to read
condensed.
it. I need to get it.
Like I
I'll go
felt
back to the
like
bookstore and
all
buy it.
so many of the things that I loved about Calvin and Hobbes were in this book
Yeah,
in a completely different format with completely different characters. But there was still that like wonder and it's so hard to put at least for me to put into words what makes Calvin and Hobbes perfect.
right.
But
Well,
it's like
it's friendship, it's philosophy, it's
right, right.
goofiness, it's
It's everything.
childhood. Yeah. So yeah, I think when I saw that book, I was in my I just moved. I don't want to buy any more books stage. So I'm right back. Now I'm
Okay.
back to like I'm buying every book I see stage. So
Okay. Well, I read about the buying every book you see
yeah,
stage. I
exactly.
didn't
I'm
realize
back
you were
into it.
able to turn that off.
Oh, for about a 9 months to a year or so.
Long
But yeah,
enough
so
to
Calvin and
switch
Hobbes, I think
houses.
I was looking at the anthology where he goes back and kind of tells a story. I don't know if it was, I assume it was some anniversary one where they're making the faces on the front. And I realized the very first strip ran like literally like the week I was born. So I feel like there's something, there's some connection
Right.
there. There's something in the universe.
Yeah.
1980, November 1985, Calvin and Hobbes debuts.
Yeah.
I come into the earth, and the rest is just me reading Calvin and Hobbes and trying to borrow what I can. But yeah, so I read, I mean, Far Side. I didn't get into Peanuts till I was about 35 years old. I hate to say
Okay.
it. Now I'm a huge Peanuts fan.
I
It took me more
understand
time.
that because I I'm 5 years older than you, so I
Okay.
was reading them both simultaneously together. The end of Peanuts, the beginning of Calvin and
Hmm.
Hobbes. I mean, Calvin and Hobbes and Peanuts are like among my first reading memories.
Oh yeah.
Um, Along with like the Chronicles of Narnia, and
Right.
I was blessed to have people who had good taste showing me what to read. But both, I mean, the Chicago Tribune, page one of the comics was Peanuts and then Calvin and Hobbes.
Nice.
Like, so they were the first two things you would read
Yeah.
every day. Um, and it took me until much more recently to appreciate Peanuts as much as I should, because Calvin resonated with me more at the time.
I think it takes a little, midlife. I hate to say depression. That's not the right word. Midlife
No,
realism, like
right,
worldly feelings. I don't know, like maturity. Maybe
right.
maturity is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, something like that.
To see the
I
world kind
like
of in
I
that
like that we're
slightly
not using
somber way.
depression.
Um, but I don't mean to say that anything Charles Schultz did is depressing, but it's like, um, yeah, it's kind of like the dark side of what Calvin and Hobbes is showing the bright side. I don't know. I'm out of my element here. You know more
except
about this stuff
except
than
except
I
that
do.
Calvin and Hobbes, like, I mean, when I read Calvin and Hobbes as an adult, I go, oh, there were parts of this that were not nearly as
Yeah, I
fun
guess
as I
so.
always thought it was as a kid. And that's why my parents loved it too.
Uh-huh.
And
I
I
think
think,
what the difference is, I think, Calvin always had Hobbes to kind of like level him, whereas
right,
Snoopy was in some strips and he was kind of your lightning presence
right,
that kind of lighten the mood. But it's not like Charlie Brown was getting a lot of consolation from Snoopy, when he's going
right.
through something bad.
Well, I think also that like Charlie Brown cared that he didn't fit in.
Uh-huh. Where Calvin was like, flaunting it kind of.
And or just oblivious.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, well, you can't be in my club.
Right.
It's me and the tiger. Um, so yeah, no, they're both fascinating. And like great examples of, I mean, we don't know as much about Watterson, but like from what we know of Schultz, like there are so many levels in which he is Charlie Brown. He didn't know
Mhm.
how to he was trying to figure out how to navigate the world.
Right.
How to he was incredibly good-hearted, but not at all. um I mentioned earlier I'm autistic, and late diagnosed because I could speak when I was young, which meant I wasn't autistic, and then I
Mhm.
was smart, which also meant that I wasn't autistic. And now that the spectrum includes me, I think that like if we had it, it would include so many of my favorite cartoonists, because it's
Mhm.
it's really just that like our brains are wired differently. And that's not bad or good. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
they're wired differently.
Oh
um
yeah. Well,
and
I see
and
that one of my children, the future cartoonist, who is like wired for humor and information, but not necessarily for social interaction, which I guess,
right.
is probably takes after me in a lot of ways, but
That's
anyway.
like I was and flipping through it, I saw that you did the art for the introversion book.
Uh-huh.
And when I looked down at the bottom, at the art itself, down at the bottom of the screen that you had on, and I'm just sitting there going, yes, that's exactly how I leave parties. That's exactly how um so yeah, no, it's like there's a group of people in this world that like are fascinated by the world, and tend to find beauty and humor and all sorts of wonderful things, and they either like beat that out of themselves so that they can be more normal, or they get into comics, is kind of how
I
it's
like that.
starting to
Yeah.
feel to me.
The cartoonist origin story. That's great.
Whether it's they become cartoonists or they just become geeks like me that would
Yeah.
rather read a
In the
comic than
world, right?
almost anything in the world.
One, I think two, part of it, I mean, going back to Charles Schultz, like in there's that Flannery O'Connor quote that I'm going to butcher where like anyone who's lived, from age until age 14 has enough like material to write for a lifetime, right? So basically cartoonists are taking all those great, wonderful, awesome, awful, in between, boring, any moment from those formative years and putting it on the
Actually,
page.
the quote to me is even better than that because it's anyone
Oh
who's
yeah, find the real
survived
quote.
his childhood
Survived.
has enough information about
Uh-huh.
life to last him the rest of his days.
There you go.
Um, yeah. Well, and I think that's part of why uh a Peanuts or a Charles or a Peanuts or a Calvin and Hobbes or a Boondocks or there's so many great comic strips that involve children of an indeterminate age, where
Hmm.
you're pretty certain that they're not teenagers, but they're not always specifically pegged to a grade either.
Right.
Um, for that matter, going slightly out of comics is why The Simpsons works. There's so much in life that can be examined from a child's perspective. Um, and if their parents ever make an appearance, then like you can cover literally anything.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of
Mhm.
times the characters are kind of they have grown-up vocabularies and some a little more grown-up concerns, maybe. Obviously, they're being written and drawn by adults,
But
probably.
but like but kids also have those concerns.
Hmm.
They just know even less what to do with them, and it's considered okay. Whereas as an adult, it's like you're supposed to know how to do this, and you're like, but how? I've never done it
Right.
before. Nobody's taught me how to do it. Why should I know? I was literally talking to my son today about and thankfully Jonah doesn't listen. So mom, when you're listening, don't tell him that I'm ratting out his issues. Um, but like he was talking about like how do I make certain that I make doctor's appointments? Like I remember it at the time where I can't call the office and I'm like, well, this is what I do. First, you find out if you can email them. If you can
Hmm.
email them, do that right now. And second, when do you make your phone calls? You're always calling me while you're driving to work. Set a reminder on your phone to tell you to talk to the doctor for like 5 minutes before you're going to start driving to work. That's the best I can give you. I,
Right.
I I have that same problem. I don't have that executive, and it's not something that I know how to teach you, and nobody taught me. And,
Yeah.
but it's like it's a sort of, oh, you're a grown up now. You should be able to handle your own. It's like, but why? Why should I
Well,
be
when you're
able to?
18, that something just happens, but no, it doesn't.
I feel like the neurotypical world. Though my wife sent me a wonderful thing today, where since I got my diagnosis, she's been looking even more, and she'll send me all sorts of wonderful memes or quotes or whatever. And some woman put up my 7-year old just accidentally called neurotypicals neurodifficults, and I will be using that word whenever I meet a willfully ableist neurotypical from now on.
That's great. Neuro difficult.
Um, so yeah, like talk to. I mean, I talk to so many people about process, and even though I'm the writer, like um, when my co-host is around, he's more of the artist, and he just. But with you, I feel like I'm more curious about your process than anybody. Like how do you? I mean, do you set aside a time each day where you're going to make a comic? I mean, talk to me just about how. I mean, because really, it feels like each one of your comics is a discrete idea that to me feels like something that I might have like thought about sometime during the day and not been able to let go of.
Hmm.
Um, do you actually hold on to it? Do you have a specific time that
Oh
you're
yeah,
letting
yeah.
it out? Do you
Well,
jot it
so it's
down
it's
really
all
quickly
it's
and come
it's a
back to it?
sketchbook. Yeah, so like what you're saying about a thought coming to you at a certain time of the day, like I'll try to have a sketchbook nearby, and I figured this out early on. Like when I'm sitting down to make the comic strip, I don't want to just be starting completely fresh. I want to
Okay.
have like something to build on, something to layer off of. So the sketchbooks are kind of just the ramblings of a, I don't know, just anything that goes through my mind. So,
Now, do your patients know that while they're under, you might be stopping to
uh,
draw a quick sketch
well,
of
yeah, so
something
so
that
it's
popped into your
we
head?
deal with no real anesthesia, so it's
Okay.
pretty. I just give some instructions and go to the next chair, and then hang out in their office for a while and make a doodle, and then
Okay.
go to the next person. So it's very, yeah, it's not like I'm doing brain surgery literally.
Well,
So
no, I
I'm
knew
just
that you
gluing
weren't
on
doing brain
brackets.
surgery, but I didn't know that you weren't ever doing like the wisdom tooth removal or
Oh, I mean,
whatever.
in dental school. So I trained for general dentistry then, but then orthodontics is just braces and Invisalign
Just
teeth and
braces.
wisdom.
Okay.
So there's a little bit less
See,
um,
I happened to have my
emergent care
wisdom tooth
necessary.
removed by my orthodontist, so
Oh,
I don't
interesting.
know
Huh.
where the lines are.
Yeah, so it's a pretty clear line of like if you show a wisdom tooth and orthodontist, they'll say, "Yep, here's an oral surgeon. Here's their card. Go
Okay.
there." But yeah, so I do keep it at work. I'm doodling, I'm jotting. Back in school, I would, sketch in class and put that in my notebook. And so I
Right.
basically have just this collection of random thoughts and images and words from, throughout the course of the week, the month, the year. And so then
Okay.
I'm sitting down to do a drawing, whatever time that might be, pop open the sketchbook, say, "Oh, this sounds
So
interesting.
that's
Let me
not
fill in
part
this
of the
sentence."
rigid schedule. I'm not like you didn't decide to do a podcast with me rather than tonight's
Oh,
drawing.
no, no. So right now
Okay.
I have like other creative people will cringe to say this. I have too much creative time, which has
Okay.
not been a problem in my life until the last maybe 4 or 5 years. So I used to just say, okay, Saturday, this was before kids. I was married in school. Saturday's my drawing time. I'm gonna make a pot of coffee, draw a cartoon from start to finish in one sitting. Awful. I did it for a long time, but it was not fun for anyone, for me, my wife, for anyone who had to be around me. Um, so a little bit later, I was like, okay, well now maybe I should do this not in one sitting because this is exhausting. I'm going to wake up early in the morning, so I would do like 3 to 4 mornings a week before school or before work. Wake up at like 6:30 or 7, out the door by 8, have, 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half if I was having trouble sleeping, and string those together 3 or 4 times a week. That was my creative time. Now, Monday through Wednesday, I have, basically banker's hours, 8 to 5, 8 to 3, where I can just sit with my ideas, and it's still terrifying, but but now I don't have any excuse for not getting the work done.
So the Monday through Wednesday is just your work time,
Monday through Wednesday is comics, children's books, emails,
right?
all the fun of being an author, illustrator,
Okay.
online cartoonist. Yeah,
So you're now an orthodontist only 2 days a week.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
and then I
See,
can still sneak in a little
that's
bit
the
of
cool kind of balance.
yeah. It's a nice balance, and it's kind of like your hobby becomes a job, in a good and bad way. So that's been
Right.
it's been a new thing.
No, I one of my favorite cartoonists, and his name's not coming to me right now, but I'm certain it will eventually. Um, he took up making custom action figures because um, drawing was no longer a hobby; it was work. So
Mhm.
he had to have a new hobby.
Yeah, that resonates for
And
sure.
he absolutely will not
Maybe
sell
I
them.
should
He
start
won't
playing
let it
guitar or
become a
something.
business thing.
Filmmaking, yeah.
Right.
You kind of
Yeah.
do need something in your life where you're not doing it for an economic motive, or, you're
Right.
just doing it for joy. And I mean, I'm glad that I get to make books and people can potentially, buy them, and um, I can have readers and people who follow my work online, but it's definitely different when you're, just a kid in your room drawing versus like me right now sitting in my room 3 days a week saying, okay, got to publish something, got to make this good.
Right.
It raises the
Right.
stakes a little
And
bit.
because I remembered his books, it's Ibrahim Mustafa
Okay, cool.
who does fantastic comics.
Uh-huh.
He adapted Count of Monte Cristo into like a
Oh, nice.
futuristic type thing. Like I love his sci-fi work. But his YouTube channel is other than when he does trailers for his comics, it's
Uh-huh.
like just like tutorial videos of him customizing action figures.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
just
I
that's
think
his
the creative
relaxation
joy is
fun.
found in messing around, not like
Right.
meeting a deadline or meeting a goal. So like a couple times a year I'll say, okay, this is my I call it Poetry Comics Month. It's like my time to do experimental comics and just kind of
Okay.
throw out my normal stuff and say, well, I'm going to make, comics just with colors and shapes and no characters, or I'm going to try this new art technique, this new medium I've never tried before, and just try to push the envelope that way. And sometimes it crashes and burns, and sometimes I'm like, oh, that turned out really well. But I do get a lot of joy in having those like open-ended experimental comics making sessions.
So you were just mentioning deciding to do different mediums during your poetry month. Um, and you talked previously about trying to stick to 2 pages. I talked to Matt Madden recently, and
Oh, he's great.
he is the king of working from a constraint. Do you
Yeah.
ever, when you're working, do you ever
I,
decide the constraint first, and then, or how do you decide that it's going to be 9 panels versus I love your 1 page kind of all over the place, but still you draw the eye really well.
yeah,
Um,
for one, I'll say
but the one
Matt Madden
panel
is
full
the
page.
master of the constraint, and I love reading
Right.
his how to make comics prompts, and just his work in general is
Yeah.
amazing. So that's
Yeah.
definitely inspirational. But I think I rarely start out from like step one with it, but I think pretty
Okay.
soon, I'll find like the thread of an idea, and I'll say, okay, what's a way to make this fun? And I'll apply the constraint maybe in step three, like now that I've done a
Okay.
sketch, well, now I'm going to use these colors, or now that I kind of have this idea of where it's going, now I'm going to use, these shapes to tell the story. So they're definitely constraints definitely enter in somewhere, but maybe not from the very first step in my process.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like do you think on paper?
Exactly. Yeah. Thinking on paper,
Okay.
that's a Saul Steinberg line, right? Or that
I
was
don't
his
even know. That
initiative.
was literally just something that
But no, thinking on paper, that's exactly so like I don't quite know where I'm going with the comic until I see the rough sketch and see some pen scribbles and try to put it in the box of the page structure. And then it's like, okay, I can see how this can be deepened.
and this is another weird question. Are you working? I mean, do you start from words? Do you start from a picture? Does it depend? I mean, does it go all over the place? I mean,
Usually, so yeah, yes, and all of the above, but usually
right.
both words and pictures together. So I've
Okay.
definitely had it where the image comes, then I have to say, okay, I have this series of pictures. How do I apply text to it? And that usually feels kind of clunky. It feels like,
Okay.
I don't know, running in shoes that are caked with mud or something. I know I'm going to get to the finish line, but it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Um, a little bit easier is when I have like words in the script and I can say, okay, I have this piece of writing, I have this poem, what pictures can go with it? And a lot of times some of the words will fall away. So I think that's maybe the next easiest. And then most natural for me is words and pictures together. Both are doing some of the lifting. Ideally, they're doing a little bit different things, but that's the interaction between the words and pictures is comics, right? So if
It
I'm just
is.
laying
I
if
mean,
I'm just laying one down and not the other, I'm illustrating or I'm writing. I'm not doing what I consider comics. And I know
I mean,
everyone
I
works
I
different. I'm
have
not saying
heard
that's the right way.
the strong argument made at a panel at C2E2 this year, where at least in a half-hearted way, Tom King and Mitch Gerads were debating which was more important, the writer or the artist. And I say half-hearted way because I was literally sitting there going, Tom, I've talked to you so many times that I know that even as a writer, you think the artist is more important. You convinced me that the artist was more
Uh-huh.
important.
And I'm the
But
yeah, I'm the person who can't imagine how one could do one and not the other. Um,
and I know
So,
lots
but
of
I
people
know,
that
I
are
know
like
this.
that
I know
too.
great works are made with writers,
Right.
artists, colorists, et cetera, all these people. And I'm like, well, that's like, by that point, you're kind of making a film. And yeah, I guess I don't play well with
You
that.
are.
I've only done it one
You don't
way.
play well with others. I love that. But where I was going with that is a girl came to the microphone and she's like, the reason that artists are better is that you can have a comic without words, but if you have words without pictures, it's called prose.
That does have some logic to it. I
Um,
have to make a confession, which is I read a lot more prose nowadays than I do comics, which is I don't know.
okay.
You're probably in this conversation real quick now, but
No,
but I think maybe it's the playing in a different sandbox. Like when I look at a comic strip, I'm thinking about, oh man, look at all
how
the
it
work that went into
works.
this drawing. I'm not carried away by
Right,
the story. Whereas I'm
right.
reading a nice paragraph, I'm not like, oh man, they sure typed a lot of good words here. I'm like, oh, I'm in the story. So
No, no, see, I had to like get over my comics are for kids thing. So I had
mhm.
my brief era of my life where it's like, oh, I grew out of comics. And then I discovered Vertigo. And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh no, I haven't grown out of comics. And then I went, oh, wait a minute. Calvin and Hobbes isn't just for kids. But really what that's done is I don't watch as many movies anymore.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um, I don't have as much time to read prose because they take so much longer than getting a story out of a comic. So
Right.
it's become, I almost exclusively listen to audiobooks in the car.
Hmm.
So all of my drive time is because I love prose. I think comics are a better medium, though I completely like will also say that the idea that one medium is better than another is like
Yeah, true.
I
That's like
think
saying
they're
the
the
mountains are
perfect
better than the
medium.
beach, you know? I don't know.
I mean, what I really think is I think comics are the perfect medium. There's not a
Uh-huh.
story that you can't tell in comics. There's not an idea that you can't express in comics. I think that that's not true of any other medium.
I think efficiency is huge too. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, you're not
though
saying,
not entirely required.
hmm well, so efficiency of consuming it. So like,
Right.
I don't think I've ever read a graphic novel I was into that I haven't finished in one sitting. And that makes me feel some guilt there where I'm like, oh man, this 300-page
No,
graphic novel
I
I
get
just
that.
devoured like in an hour.
And I will say that I don't think I've ever managed to do From Hell in one sitting.
Okay, maybe I need to try that one. Yeah.
Um, and I actually prefer it best going issue by issue where
Mhm.
I get to do the end notes. Like when it's collected, all of the end notes are at the end of the collection, but there were end notes at each issue. So, I mean, first you have to be interested in like the really deep dive both into Jack the Ripper and Masonic lore and the history of London.
Uh-huh.
But Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell completely went on that journey. And then Alan also gave you copious footnotes of that journey.
Right.
So, like
There's a lot to dive into. Yeah.
on average, I would take 3 to 4 hours with a single issue of
See, I think
From Hell.
I have a big blind spot, which is that kind of comic because
Yeah, no,
I wasn't exposed to it as I mean I had some kind of like serialized like I don't know an X-Men collection or something as a kid,
right,
but it was newspapers. Then it was Chris Ware, Adrian Tomina, that
right,
cold-blooded stuff, New Yorker stuff. And then
right.
it's now I'm back kind of in the kid space of like Raina
Right.
Telgemeier and Scott McCloud and these
Did
awesome
you read
people
their new
writing.
book?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh my
It made me
God.
want to go out and draw comics. Yeah. So, but I think I need to go back into like quote unquote grown up comics,
I
get out
mean,
of the
you don't
kid space
have
a little bit.
to,
Well, but I
but
think
there's
it'd
some
be
cool stuff
enlightening.
there.
Yeah. Because there's I know my comics blind spots and it's like Alan Moore.
Right. Well,
Um,
I thought I knew my comics blind spots, and then I started hosting a comics podcast, and I realized,
right.
and this is one of the reasons the film has really gone by the wayside. Except, like, my family does a Zoom film club, so
Oh,
I
nice.
watched
Okay.
like one movie a week to be able to talk about it with
Uh-huh.
people. Like right before we talked about 80 for Brady because that was the film that was picked this week.
That
Next
was
week
based on a
it's
comic book,
Westworld.
wasn't it? No.
Uh, no, but it was a comedy. It was a
Oh,
it was
comedy.
a it
Okay,
was a
okay.
buddy comedy.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Um, if you like buddy comedies, you'll like it, and if you don't like buddy comedies, you won't. Um, and if you kind of like buddy comedies, it depends on how much you like old comedic women who are really good at doing what they do, and or football.
See, I like football. I like buddy comedies. I like old comedic women. I don't love Tom Brady. So there, that might be the sticking
Tom
point here.
Brady is not actually
He's the MacGuffin.
right.
Uh,
Right.
he's
So
the reason, but
s-
not the main point.
right. You might actually have more. I mean, how I described it to my wife before I did, and I can't believe we're talking about 80 for
I know.
Brady,
Well,
but like,
I'm gonna go watch 80 for Brady and read From Hell right after this conversation. So
hey, I mean, if you do, you got to let me know what you think of that. Um, but how I described it to my wife is it's like the buddy comedies only flipped on their head rather than 20 something dumb guys doing things that are ridiculously irresponsible when they have their whole life in front of them and or with no good reason, like, or the best reason is, oh, you're getting married tomorrow and that's so horrible that you got to do all the dumb shit now. It's four 80-year-old women throwing caution to the wind to have one last great memory.
it's Golden Girls meets The Hangover, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I like the concept.
That's a good analogy. It's Golden Girls meets The Hangover. And speaking of Golden Girls, if you're not, and like you said that you don't do a lot of adult comics, there's a book that the second volume is out right now that's called Golden Rage, that
Uh-huh.
in a lot of ways is like Golden Girls meets Lord of the Flies.
Oh, nice. Okay. Great concept. Yeah.
Right. It's like the old women get put on this island when they've outlived their whatever. So it's got that dystopic aspect, that very oh, old women are only, once you can't make kids anymore, you're only good for watching kids, and if you're not doing that, then let's just get rid of you.
So I think this has made me identify a flaw in my own work too, now that I've got my comics blind spots, which is none of my books can be summed up by as good of an elevator pitch as Golden Girls meets Lord of the Flies. See, it's
I
like
mean,
you just sold the book right
it
there.
just means that you get published in different places.
Exactly.
And honestly, like your titles have, I mean, the ones that I've actually read so far, um, uh, one of them I'd meant to read when it came out because I will judge you by your bookshelf was like, I mean, I think the biggest reason that I hadn't read that yet was I'm like, it was a mixture of, am I going to feel judged or am I going to feel terrible about the way that I judge people? And the answer on both of those counts is no. I felt seen. So I
Oh,
was
good,
so
good.
happy
Okay.
to have read it.
No,
But
the
thinking
biggest
about
complaint about
thinking,
that
it's
book I
like,
hear is, oh, it's about reading and write. It's more about writing than reading, which is I'm guilty of that, I suppose.
but you know what? That's okay. Because I,
Mhm.
I think people that like to write, whether it's, I mean, I've been thinking to myself lately that I need to find a good pen pal. I miss writing physical letters.
Uh-huh.
I mean, yes, I'd love to write the great American novel. I haven't been quite inspired to do it, and I'm not quite in the crowd that's like, oh, you just got to sit and do it. And it's like, well, yeah, kind of, but you do actually
Just
have
grind
to
it
have
out.
a real idea,
Uh-huh.
you know. Um, but like reading that, I realized that, oh, like all the little writing I do is writing.
Hmm.
And it matters to me. And it doesn't matter if it matters to anybody else. If it does, great. But I need to get back into my writing habit because I like writing.
Yeah.
You know, that was what I was thinking. It was like, oh, reading and writing are two sides of the same coin. And I love reading, but part of the reason I love reading is because I love writing. I love seeing how people put ideas together because I like to put my ideas together. Sometimes out in the world, sometimes not. But part of getting it out in the world is organizing it.
Right. Yeah, I feel like reading is the gateway drug to writing. Like if I'm ever
Right.
feeling like, oh, I don't have any great ideas, I'm kind of spent, just pick up and read something that inspires me, which is, sometimes
So,
hard to find
so
what that
I
is.
saw
But
all
then I'm like,
sorts
oh,
of
okay, I'm ready. Let's do it.
because I think we're going to be able to go a while on this.
Hmm.
I'm gonna even though we've got a little bit of time, I'm gonna introduce what's normally my closing question, um, because I feel like with you, there's not gonna be one answer.
Okay.
And I love that. Um, what I always ask is tell me something you love, preferably a comic, but we don't have any rules, preferably storytelling, but also we don't have any rules. And that includes it can be more than one. I have had people give me like, here's the movie, here's the book, here's the comic, here's the piece of
Uh-huh.
music, here's the experience, whatever. But something that you love that you wish more people, or at least more people around you, had experienced because you want to be able to talk about it more.
Mm. Can I think on that for a few minutes?
Absolutely. I'll keep
Okay.
babbling.
I'm like
Um,
I'm like afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing.
there's no wrong
Actually, no,
thing.
no, I'm just looking at my okay, so how I'm going to do this, I'm just going to glance at my bookshelf, which is right, off
That's
camera behind
literally
me.
what 80% of the people
Yeah.
do when they
So that's so I can think of like just a few cartoonists probably in the last decade of my life who I've been like, okay, this is a person I want to like imitate, emulate, etc.
right.
I'm looking at a collection from Roz Chast, New Yorker
Oh,
cartoonist. And so I got to see her talk when she did an event in Wichita. I got to see her speak.
okay.
She was like the person who, was the person I read in college who was like, okay, now I want to be a cartoonist. I read Roz Chast, and it wasn't an immediate falling in love moment. I think, a little put off by the weirdness of it at the beginning,
Right.
because I'd never seen her drawings until, my brother brought home the stack of New Yorkers that the architecture department was throwing away. And so I read them like, this isn't really funny. The drawings aren't really good. The colors are kind of off. And then a week later, I picked it up and I was like, the drawings are amazing. The colors are the best. The humor is, you know,
That sounds like,
so esoteric. I love
um,
it.
and no, I think you
I just got it.
actually, I work in scripts, and I
Uh-huh.
think that you actually just itched a script that I haven't used on the air yet. That is how I used to feel about every new REM album.
Okay, nice.
When it came out, I'd go, I don't know what they're doing. Is this the first
Mhm.
REM album I don't like? And then by the time I'd listened to it 5 or 10 times, it's like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And like that went way past when most people like I love Up. I love Reveal. I love a lot of their later albums that people are
Uh-huh.
like, why is it not automatic for the people anymore? And it's like, because that's never been how REM works.
They were doing something different every time. Yeah.
Every album sounds different. Um, I mean, what like two of my two favorite bands that I grew up with, probably among my two favorite artists still are REM and Pearl Jam, but like for
Mhm.
diametrically different reasons. Pearl Jam, even though their new album was different, it was like they grew with me. It was my new favorite album right out of the gate because
Uh-huh.
somehow their lives had moved at the pace of my life and and they were still speaking to me.
Right. They were locked into Tad.
Right, right. They were just, when they were, and they're older than me, but when they were writing the songs that were perfect for angsty teenagers,
Oh yeah.
when they were writing songs about their kids, I mean, I have grandkids now. Shh. I mean, everybody knows that, but so yeah, it was like, whereas REM, I had to figure out every new album, but in figuring it out, I go, oh my God, I love this one too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking a little more obvious, like Bob Dylan, Rolling Stones. Like,
Yeah.
the Rolling Stones are going to do a Rolling Stones thing. And if they
Hmm.
stray from that Rolling Stones thing, they're probably going to go right back to it next time. Whereas
Right.
Bob Dylan's going to take you on, to some
God knows
unusual
where.
places.
God
And
knows where.
next album you might not like it as much as the previous one, but you're going to be challenged and you're going to have to take the training wheels off at some point and be like, okay, I think I like it.
And most of the time, and he's just got such a deeper catalog. And REM did eventually make an album that I didn't like. We won't name it just
Okay,
because,
nice.
well, Brian Bendis once said that he'll never say his least favorite of his works because somebody loves that one. He doesn't
Exactly.
want to shit on it.
Yeah. And
So
I confess,
eventually,
I confess to I need to know more about both Pearl Jam and Pearl Jam and REM, but I'm definitely more of an REM fan than a Pearl Jam fan.
And
Um,
that makes sense to me.
yeah.
I think when I was younger, I was too, and then the fact that they grew with me, and the fact that when I both had the time and money to go to live shows, they were still touring.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Um, and also just in general, like when live bootlegs became more available on the internet, they made theirs way more available. And like the live
Pearl Jam did,
experience
you're
was
saying?
different from the studio experience.
Yeah.
So like they were neck and neck until I started having both studio and live program.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like there's so many bands where I'm like, I don't, I mean, I like this band, I respect them, but I just don't get them. And that's
Right.
because they're like primarily gonna blow you away live and then do a pretty
Right.
good album. But
And I feel like that's like the most common feeling about Pearl Jam is either
yeah,
that they peaked with their second album, maybe their third, and really it's I don't like your new stuff because oh you've listened to new music and it's made it into your music
uh,
and I'm still listening to the stuff that you were making then and haven't listened to any blues or any reggae
right.
or any 80s synth pop or any
Uh-huh.
um but then they go to the shows and the anthems are still the anthems so they still have that core following even among the
Mhm.
people that don't like much of their stuff from the last 20 years
Right, right.
but then like it at the show they're like why have I never heard this one and it's like oh well because it's on.
They're a live band. Yeah, yeah.
Right. um yeah so yeah no that I'm gonna have to go. I love Roz Chast already but I
So
already want
I'm
to
gonna take
go
this.
pick up more.
I'm gonna try to draw a or like not a conclusion, but a parallel between two other cartoonists in the. No, this it's gonna fall through. Anyway, the other two I was gonna mention were John McNaught, the British cartoonist who does a lot of kind of quieter, like almost like printmaking
See, I adore
experimental
you
comics.
already because you managed to just list somebody that I don't know. That takes talent.
The pages are beautiful. It's very quiet. It's like almost nothing happens in them. And I just come away from his books like, okay, I want to draw. I want to, draw in that world, live in that world, draw.
Oh yeah. I'm just looking at like a couple of just the first page of his website. I'm already okay. Yeah.
And they're
No,
pure
I'm gonna
comics
have
in the sense of like, I mean, they're great illustrations and he does great illustrations, but they're a narrative. They're mostly pictures, but the words are important too.
right.
And it just feels like real life. So anyway, another person
Okay.
I wish more people knew about. Probably a lot of people know about him, but maybe not as many as you know about Ross Chast. And then the other person who I've tried to like steal a lot from is a
Froze for a second. Hopefully you're not gone because I heard steal a lot from.
cartoonist.
Okay, we froze for a second.
Oh,
I
sorry.
heard the other person I like to steal a lot from, and then we lost you.
JJ Sempe or Sampe. How do you say his last name? The
You know
French
what?
cartoonist.
I'm trying to. I feel like that name I recognize, but not well enough that I can. So
Sempe is the last name. How do you spell it?
SEM. So Jean-Jacques Sempe, French cartoonist. See, I'm still learning my European cartoonists much more
Me too.
because there's so much good stuff.
When I did my first book event, I went with my editor to like it was at a restaurant or something, and there were some French publishers who had all their books out that were trying to attract American, companies to translate them and publish them. And I just picked up all these books and I'm like, these are all the best thing I've ever seen. I can't read a word of it. How have I never heard of these people? Um,
Right.
and then we left and went to another restaurant. But that was my first exposure to seeing like French comics. Then I saw JJ Sempe and the New Yorker doing covers for them, and have gotten a few of his collections, and it's very like
That doesn't shock me.
kind of
Francois.
old school cartooning style,
Yeah, no,
nib pen, watercolor washes,
yeah,
but just the
yeah.
complexity he puts into the drawings is amazing.
See, you gave me two names, and I'm gonna have to go explore more.
Yeah.
I love this. Um, yeah. See, this is when I have to remind myself that this is an audio podcast. So when I'm staring at things, I need to remember to keep saying words.
If you could just narrate it, exactly what these images look like for the audience.
I mean, there are times where I think that it would be fun um, to do a more in-depth read through of things where you
Mhm.
did the video and then put it up on YouTube or whatever, but I'd want to like seriously clear it with
Oh yeah,
creators
probably some kind of rights issue.
yeah, unless I'm only doing like snippets,
Uh-huh.
right? Um
Or pick all the
and like
graphic novels in the public domain. I don't know.
right.
I'm
Well,
sure
I mean
there's
that's possible. That
yeah, exactly.
actually one of the I was thinking when I was reading this is how nerdy I am. When I was reading I will judge you by your bookshelf. And I was thinking I need to start making myself write again. I'm like, okay, how do I make myself write even if I don't feel inspired? And I started like I've taken up more role-playing games in the last
Mhm.
couple of years. So I'm like, well, I could come up with like 20 types of things that I could write. The short story, the poem, the whatever. And like if you don't immediately know what you want to write, you roll the die and that's what you're writing. And
Exactly, yeah.
and like if you don't immediately decide like say you got a review and you don't immediately go, "Oh, I'm going to review this comic or I'm going to review this book or
Uh-huh.
whatever." It's like, "Okay, roll a six-sided die. It's going to tell you if it's music, movie, book."
Yeah. No, I mean, anything that gets you into the process, anything that gets you
Right.
working, that gets you to
Right.
pull up that page and
So
write.
that could literally be my next writing assignment for myself is writing the the essentially game theory version of making myself right.
Honestly, I mean, I feel like if you made that writer's, six-sided die and put it
Right.
online, there will be a lot of writers, myself included, who will say, "Oh, I really need one of those for those days where I don't know
I
where to
mean,
start."
have you ever seen Story Dice?
No, I haven't.
So they're both available in stores and there's like an app version where you can choose how many you have and
Uh-huh.
they're six-sided dice but with like different pictures on them and like
Yeah.
you can roll them and just go okay. I mean every once in a while I'll do it as like a game with a fellow writer where it's like okay, we each have 10 minutes to work as many of those things into whatever we're writing.
Hmm.
It'll be like an airplane and a ladder and a stop sign and
Yeah, it's built, it's the parts of your production. You're building a play. You have the props
right.
that you need to fill in the story.
Right. I mean, one of my favorite books on creativity. I mean, technically it's on filmmaking, but I think of it more as creativity because Robert Rodriguez wrote a book called Rebel Without a Crew,
Oh
which
yeah.
was all about the making of El Mariachi, his first movie. Um, and one of the things I loved is he started out with he's like, so I had a small town in Mexico, a bus that didn't run, a turtle, and an empty guitar case. So those things were going to be in the movie.
All visually striking elements, right? Yeah, that's
It's
great to
like
build
it's like
on.
before he even started writing the script, it's like I had a small town in Mexico that I could use because like his grandmother lived there or whatnot, and he
Uh-huh.
knew that like he was going to be able to get his whole cast there, and for the most part, he could use any part of that town, right? So I have a small town in Mexico. I have a turtle, a dead bus, and an empty guitar case.
It's those constraints again. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was so cool talking to Matt about that, where he talked about like more times than not for him, he comes up with this constraint first. He's
Right.
like, I'm going to do this with my story. What story will fit this?
What was the name of that book again? I do have my
Uh,
time constraint coming in, but I'm gonna look
oh,
it up once we're done talking.
which one? The
Robert, you said Robert
Robert Rodriguez,
Rodriguez,
Rebel Without a Crew.
Rebel Without a Crew. Okay.
Right. He's the same
Okay.
guy that made Desperado. If you have
Mhm.
kids, you might have seen Spy Kids. He did the Spy
Yep, I know
Kids
Spy Kids.
movies. He
Yeah.
did Sin
Um,
City.
oh, cool. Okay.
Um,
So
yeah, he's
he's
one of
done
the
all.
more interesting directors of. I mean, there was a time where Kevin Smith, and Quentin Tarantino were the up and comers,
Hmm.
all kind of together in different ways. But Rebel Without a Crew. But if you haven't, in terms of constraints, if you haven't seen it yet, Matt Madden's new book, Six Treasures of the Spiral. Oh
Oh,
my
nice. Okay.
God.
I've
Oh
seen
my
some of
God.
his Substack posts. I need to get the actual
Yeah.
book.
Six Treasures of the Spiral from Uncivilized.
Cool.
Um, Your stuff is available at grantsnider.com. I did notice, and I love that you have this, that you also have a poster shop, because I was literally looking at your pages and going, oh, I want this on my wall. And it's like, oh, wait, some of them I can put on my wall without even having my wife make them into posters. I can give him money to put them on my wall. And we like to try to encourage people to pay for their art here at 22 Panels. We want people to read the art, period. So we're not as anti-piracy as some podcasts might be. And like I'll argue with you on that one. But if you have the funds, you should pay for your art, because then your artist will make more art. It's really
Well
that
said.
simple. Really that simple.
And if you can't, go to the public library and
Right.
request it.
Well, and that's kind of how I view piracy. Somebody had to buy it at some point. It's a version of the public library. Um, I think that it's not the battle that most creators should want to fight, because at the end of the day, people are still reading their stuff. And like I sold music in the era of Napster, and
Hmm.
the argument I would always make is, which is worse, that they pirated your music for 5 years when they were broke, but then when they weren't, they were still a fan of music and went to concerts and started paying for albums because it's a pain in the ass to download them. It takes too long and whatever. And because most people understand that if they want more music, they need to make certain that the people that like make their music make money. Not everybody does the math well. That's what streaming has preyed on.
Hmm.
But honestly, streaming was a worse option for most artists than Napster was. The sudden thing that you could get paid like 1/10 of a penny for each time your song is played, rather than actually sell albums,
Uh-huh.
but have the people feel like they're paying for your music because they're just not paying you.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope Spotify doesn't get into the webcomics business.
I mean, if they do, just avoid them.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, it's such a weird thing, because like, I mean, this is where I wish that more people like were willing to just say, "Hey, this is how long it takes me. These are my expenses. Do you want more comics?
Hmm.
Here's my Patreon." You know,
That's a good point. Yeah.
but like, but like, I mean, I've literally had the argument with creators that I love, that they're like, "Oh, I was so busy. I shut down my Patreon because I wasn't doing stuff." And I'm like, "Were you busy because of life stuff? And because of that, did you also need more money?" And they're like, "Well, yes." And I'm like, "Then why did you stop us from giving you more money?" "But I didn't earn it." "Yes, yes, you did. You'd already earned it, and you're going to earn it again later." I don't think most people pay for their Substacks or their Patreons or their whatnot because they
Right.
feel like they're getting value for their dollar.
Hmm. They
I
just
mean,
want to say, "Hey,
I'm
thumbs up if
certain
you're
there
doing
are
a good
some
job."
people
Yeah.
who, but I think by and large, it's, I like your work. I have this money that I can afford to give you because I like your work.
Right.
Or if you're me and a teacher, I have this money that I can't afford to give you, but I like your work, so I'm giving it to you anyway.
God bless teachers. Well, hey Ted, I
Well,
gotta run, but
absolutely. I
it's
got to
been fun
let you
talking to
go.
you. I've got some
Grant,
great recommendations now.
it's been great. You are welcome to welcome back anytime if you want to
Thank you.
talk comics. I will certainly hit you
Right.
up if you have a new book. Um, let me know what you think of those, and I may wind up emailing you if I like fall in love with any John McNaught in particular. I feel like I definitely need to go look at that.
Yeah,
That
get them on your
looks
podcast.
well. I mean, if I can,
Yep.
summer's coming up. That's when it's easier to do transatlantic because I'm
Right.
available in the morning. Um, and we go all over the place on this podcast.
Awesome. It's been a fun conversation.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself. I'm glad that you did too. And for Grant Snider, this has been 22 panels, and we will see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.